First things first, it's Saquon Barkley on the cover of Madden, and we've got some video from the shoot. Obviously, Saquon Barkley, his year last year was unbelievable, and capping it off with a Super Bowl, a birthday, and some iconic plays from last year, none more iconic than the backwards hurdle. What were your first impressions when you saw that backwards hurdle as a guy who's competed at the highest level against some of the what we thought were the best athletes, and then Saquon Barkley comes along and does something like that?
I mean, Kyle, who in their right mind after a spin move even contemplates jumping over somebody backwards, which shows you the freak athletic ability of Saquon Barkley. Like, that was just a natural feel. Like, that's not something you see all this footage of receivers and running backs going through like skill position drills, right? Have you ever seen a guy do a spin move and try to jump over somebody backwards? That lets you know that's just natural feel, because I know a lot of people will make hoopla about some of those drills not being realistic in the NFL, right? Because they're like, somebody's going to get their hands on you doing all that chopping at the line of scrimmage. Yeah. But for a guy to, again, catch the ball, break one tackle, spin off another guy, and then just to automatically know that a guy is going to go low on him coming off the spin, to have the athletic ability, and you see the verticality that he got, right, as far as him being able to jump out of the air off balance and clear somebody, because that could have been ugly, Kyle. Like, if he just gets clipped.
That's how you land on your
ankle. Yeah, like you land on your head. So, like, to even contemplate that was out of this world. And I don't think there was even a question about what the Madden cover was going to be and who was going to be on it, because that was one of the greatest plays we've seen. And the crazy thing, it wasn't even a big game, but it was just so athletic. It was one of the most eye-popping plays we've seen in NFL history.
You know what? You brought up a great point. It wasn't just about the hurdle. You know, like an average Joe looks at that picture and goes, oh, my God, he hurdled a guy backwards, which is unreal. But in conjunction, in combination with another move, the spin followed by the hurdle, it's like you're a rusher. You've seen 1,000 guys with a great first move. How many of those guys can convert if the first move gets stopped and turn it into another dominant rush? Not many. So when I look at these ball carriers, all these guys have that one cut that they learned in the spring. They were at the speed ladder coaches camp in Miami, and it went on their Instagram. They can all make one guy miss, but it's the great ones that can do it twice, sometimes 3 times in a play. None better than Saquon Barkley. We've got some video of Saquon Barkley at the studio. Let's take a look in here.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh.
Hey. Woo!
Now, my first reaction, Leger, when I see this is I'm habitually on social media, and I don't believe anything that I see now. And if I was 50 years old, I would believe in sharks that eat pirate ships that are still out there and aliens because of all the AI and all the fake stuff that you see on the internet. And it's just like, this video is one of those videos where at first glance, I would say it's AI. And I still think it's AI because I've been so indoctrinated with the BS on the internet. But if there's a guy who could make that video and not AI it, it's Saquon Barkley. What did you see there?
Yeah, honestly, how athletic he is, it didn't surprise me that he actually did the stunt. We go back to a photo shoot we saw of DK Metcalf, and maybe you remember this, Kyle, where it seemed like he was levitating in the air. And I want to say it was a Gatorade commercial or something like that, but it looked like he literally jumped 9 feet in the air and caught a pass. And then later we saw that he had like he was hooked up to some contraption, the same that Saquon Barkley was to levitate him in the air. So my thing with that is I wonder how teams feel about that, right? Do players have to sign waivers to do their own stunts? Like, is that something that teams are concerned about when
he's in cleats in a studio? Like, if he slips,
that's what I'm saying. Like, or what if he lands awkwardly, right? Like, those things have to come into play there. So I'm sure this was a long conversation, not only between Saquon Barkley and EA Sports, but also the Philadelphia Eagles and EA Sports. Like, all right, this is now the highest paid running back for a good reason. We need this guy if we're going to make another run at the Super Bowl. Can you tell us for a fact that he's not going to get hurt doing this? And again, we know there's no such thing as 100% avoiding injuries because fluke things happen. So I just wonder what those conversations were like between Saquon, the Eagles, and EA when he decided, you know what, I am going to do the stunt because this was a special moment in NFL, and it's a privilege to be on the cover of Madden.
It opens up Pandora's box for all these marketing opportunities. Obviously, for a guy like Saquon, you win a Super Bowl, you were the big face of New York. Now you're the big guy in town in Philly. And let's just hope that not all these creative directors from the commercials are having Saquon do these superhuman feats. It leads me, I'm going to finish with this on first off the ball, the Mike Vick commercial where he threw it out of the stadium.
Man,
just to name one. This is one of those commercials that will go down in history. Shoots the picture there, the moment. These moments that are too big to be true. Add Saquon to that list. Well, after this, Lige, we're going to break down. What you got?
Well, I was going to say before we move on, I think the biggest question is the Madden curse still alive?
Oh, right? I don't even want to say
There was a nice little streak. There was a nice little streak of guys breaking the Madden curse, right? You go back a few years, you have Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, who both had really great years after being on the cover. Tom Brady throws for over 5,300 yards. Then we have John Madden on it. And then Josh Allen last year, right? He goes on to win. He has another really good year. But then last year, Christian McCaffrey's on it, right? And he actually gets hurt and only plays in 4 games. So there was a nice little streak where the Madden curse had been broken, but could it potentially be back after Christian McCaffrey was on it last year? Because I know that was always a thing with players.
I'm knocking on wood right now.
A lot of players always thought it was an honor, right, Kyle? But then when the curse started happening and guys started getting hurt, players were like, I want no parts of the Madden cover.
Just give me my Madden check.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's interesting to see where players' mindsets are because, like I said, there was a streak of 6 years where obviously the Madden curse didn't affect the players that were on the cover. But then going back to last year, Christian McCaffrey was on the cover and he had his least productive season and he was banged up the entire year. So that may be something to watch. Again, not wishing ill will on Saquon Barkley. I don't want the Philadelphia Eagle fans coming after me. But I'm just saying, for the longest time, even when we played, Kyle, the Madden curse was a real thing.